Roman Kingdom. Rome's story begins in 753 BC, when Romulus founded the city after the legendary tale of being raised with his twin brother Remus by a she-wolf. He became the first king, set up the army and the Senate, giving Rome its foundation. After him, Numa Pompilius brought peace, laws, and religion, shaping Rome's spiritual life. Then came Tullus Hostilius, a warrior king who expanded Rome through battles, especially against Alba Longa. The fourth king, Ancus Marcius, balanced war and building. He founded the port of Ostia and built the first bridge across the Tiber River, boosting trade and connection. Next, Tarquinius Priscus, of Etruscan origin, introduced new culture and started great works, like the Cloaca Maxima sewer system. Servius, Tullius followed, remembered for the first census and dividing society by wealth and military duty, giving Rome an early political system. Finally came Tarquinius Superbus, a cruel tyrant. His son's crime against Lucretia led to outrage, and in 509 BC, the people, led by Brutus, overthrew the monarchy. From then on, the Romans swore never to have kings again. Roman Republic. The Roman Republic began in 509 BC after the people overthrew their last king. Instead of monarchy, Rome was now led by elected magistrates, especially 2 consuls, under the guidance of the Senate. Power was shared, and the Romans swore never again to allow one man to rule them. Early on, Rome faced struggles between the patricians, the nobles, and the plebeians, the common people. This conflict of the orders lasted centuries but eventually gave plebeians more rights, like the creation of tribunes to protect them, and later laws that made their decisions binding for all Romans. Meanwhile, Rome was expanding. First, it defeated neighboring Latin and Etruscan cities, uniting central Italy. Then came the legendary Punic Wars against Carthage. Rome won Sicily in the First War, survived Hannibal's invasion in the Second, and finally destroyed Carthage in the Third, becoming master of the Western Mediterranean. In the East, Rome conquered Greece, Asia Minor, and later Egypt, gaining vast lands, wealth, and slaves. But with success came problems, growing inequality, corruption, and soldiers loyal more to generals than to the Republic itself. The late Republic saw reformers, like the Gracchi brothers, but their efforts ended in blood. Ambitious generals like Marius and Sulla turned their armies against Rome. Later, the first triumvirate, Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus, rose, but rivalry tore them apart. Julius Caesar, after conquering Gaul, became the most powerful man in Rome. His crossing of the Rubicon sparked civil war, which he won. But in 44 BC, he was assassinated by senators fearing his power. Chaos continued until his heir Octavian, later called Augustus, defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. Finally, in 27 BC, Octavian became the first emperor, and the Republic gave way to the Roman Empire. Early Empire. The early Roman Empire, also called the Principate, began in 27 BC with Augustus, the first emperor. He kept the illusion of the Republic by calling himself first citizen, but real power now lay with him. Augustus built a standing army, expanded Rome's borders, and filled the empire with grand monuments. This period, known as the Pax Romana, brought nearly 200 years of peace and prosperity. Roads, aqueducts, and cities flourished. Rome grew rich through trade, taxes, and conquest. Under emperors like Claudius, who added Britain, and Trajan, who pushed Rome to its greatest size, the empire reached its peak. The most admired rulers were the 5 good emperors, Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus Pius, and Marcus Aurelius. They governed wisely, strengthened the army, and cared for the people. Hadrian built his famous wall in Britain, while Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, defended Rome and left behind his Stoic writings. But cracks began to show. The army's influence in politics grew, Succession was often unclear, and weak rulers like Commodus brought instability. By the time of the Severan dynasty in the 3rd century, the empire relied heavily on the military to hold power. The assassination of Emperor Alexander Severus in 235 AD ended this golden era and opened the door to the troubled years of the crisis of the 3rd century. Crisis of 3rd century. The crisis of the 3rd century, 235–284 AD, was one of the darkest times in Roman history. After the murder of Emperor Alexander Severus, generals fought for power, and in just 50 years, more than 25 emperors rose and fell, many assassinated by their own soldiers. At the same time, Rome faced deadly enemies. In the east, the powerful Sassanid Persians defeated Roman armies and even captured Emperor Valerian alive, a humiliation never seen before. In the north and west, tribes like the Goths, Franks, and Alemanni raided deep into Roman lands, burning towns and terrorizing the people. Rome itself broke apart. The Gallic Empire split off in the west, while in the east, Queen Zenobia of Palmyra built her own empire, ruling Egypt and Syria. Trade collapsed, farms were destroyed, a plague swept through the land, and cities shrank as hunger and fear spread. Yet out of this chaos, strong leaders appeared. The greatest was Emperor Aurelian, 270–275 AD. He reunited the empire, defeated both the Gallic and Palmyrene breakaway states, built new walls around Rome, and began reforms to restore stability. Though assassinated, his victories marked a turning point. Finally, in 284 AD, Diocletian took power. He ended the chaos by creating a new, stronger system of rule, the Dominate, reshaping Rome for centuries to come. The crisis nearly destroyed the empire, but it also forced Rome to adapt, setting the stage for its survival in a new form. Late Empire. The late Roman Empire, also called the Dominate, began in 284 AD with Emperor Diocletian. Unlike earlier rulers who pretended to be first citizens, emperors now ruled openly as absolute monarchs. Diocletian divided the empire into 4 parts under the tetrarchy system, making it easier to govern and defend. He reformed taxes, expanded the bureaucracy, and strengthened the army. But his harsh policies also burdened the people. In religion, he is remembered for launching the last great persecution of Christians, a campaign that failed and only made Christianity stronger. After Diocletian stepped down, civil wars followed. Out of this struggle rose Constantine the Great. At the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, 312, he claimed victory under the symbol of the Christian cross. Constantine legalized Christianity in 313 with the Edict of Milan, later converted himself, and built strong ties between church and state. He also founded Constantinople in 330, a new Rome that became the empire's capital in the east. The final great emperor of this era was Theodosius, 379–395. He made Christianity the official religion of the empire and banned pagan worship, completing Rome's transformation from a pagan state to a Christian empire. When Theodosius died in 395, he split the empire permanently between his 2 sons, Arcadius in the east and Honorius in the west. This division marked the true beginning of 2 worlds,